Atheist Network presents
Cowabummer. Okay, so if you're listening to this or watching this, I actually got off my ass and then back on my ass into this chair. I can't swear in the first few minutes of YouTube, can I? We'll bleep it. I buckled down and I did what's happening in front of you. Now, if you're confused, Jay, what do you mean you buckled down and doing what's happening in front of you? I have been wanting to start a talk show, a podcast type for the past 2-3 years, right? I like to yap. I have things I like to do, collect, hobbies that I like to talk about. With my friends, without my friends. And so I was always like, I'm going to do a podcast. We're going to do a podcast. I'm going to make a podcast happen someday. I'm going to call it a podcast. It's not really a podcast. And so I tried 3 or 4 times. I focused on movies a lot because none of my other friends are super collectors like I am, or at least none of my in-person friends. Because I always preferred, I feel like a podcast type thing would work in person better than online. But a lot of them aren't collectors. So I was like, we'll talk about movies. I tried maybe 3 times to start a movie podcast. And between people being busy, people having school, people not liking me anymore, shit happens. Podcast never happened. I have like 8 pilots up my sleeve. Now, I did successfully kind of start a podcast with Chris Fire98. Shout out Crystal. Legendary. We had Rolling Bones. It ran from 2022 till 2023. And then it kind of tapered off because we ran out of stuff to talk about. Because again, I can't sit there and talk to Crystal about action figures. Crystal's not into action figures like I am. She's not into movies as much as I am, or at least the same types, like VHSs and collecting and stuff as I am. So I was like, I gave up. I gave up hope. I was like, I'm just going to keep streaming. I'm going to keep streaming. But streaming's not doing that well. Let's be honest, right? I average 2 viewers. The follower to viewer ratio is not there. And so, but I still want to do content creation. And if one thing's not working, we pivot. So this is me pivoting. Welcome to Cowabummer, the show where I, a collector, talk about stuff I collect, interests, anything. It could be RPGs, it could be toys, it could be VHSs. This is kind of just an introduction, and then we'll see what I start yapping about, because I can talk. You put coffee in me, I will talk nonstop. Now, I will say, I'm stealing some inspiration from Chris Fresh, Refreshing Thoughts, because I didn't think solo podcasts could be good. I've listened to a couple of them, and I always got bored. It's just one guy just going and going and going. Then I listened to Refreshing Thoughts, and I said, wait a second. That motherfucking Australian doesn't sound that bad. This is actually enjoyable. And so, yeah, here we are. I'm stealing his gimmick, but not really. I'm just doing a solo podcast as well. Every white guy with a solo podcast was stealing somebody's gimmick. We'd all have to fucking cancel it because there's a lot of those out there. So yeah, this is kind of a pilot, kind of a test run. I don't have notes or things. I do have things I want to talk about. But I don't know if first episode I should be like, oh, well, hey, everybody. Today we're going to discuss why NECA sucks. Today we're going to discuss why VHS is the best content ever. We're going to discuss why Blu-ray is the best content ever, right? This is just kind of an introduction to me. So, hi. If you don't know, I'm Jay. In 2019, I started on TikTok, and I blew the fuck up for a whole month. And then I kind of teetered off, and then I blew up again, and then I moved to Texas, and I went... I've been chasing that fucking high ever since. Welcome to my room. I normally don't webcam stream, so this is weird. My room's probably messy. I'm also noticing one of my eyes looks bigger than the other, but I think that's because the camera's not. It's flipped. So that's fine. Whatever. I'm Jaythearchfey. I made a lot of D&D content. I kind of teetered off into doing whatever I want. I tried streaming. It did well. Now it's not. We're pivoting. This is the pivot. Welcome to the pivot. I've titled it Cowabummer because... unlike most content creators you'll run into who like do toys and stuff, they're like, I collect these 18 lines. Look at my impressive toy room. I am 22. I dropped out of college and I am not poor. I wouldn't say I'm poor. I wouldn't even say I'm low income. It's just that I don't have a lot of disposable income. So I collect very sporadically and very rarely. So it's a lot of me viewing lines, collections from the outside, and I have to be very specific with what I'm going to collect. So this, as far as collecting, like what I collect goes, is going to be very like in a box, right? I'm not gonna be like, oh, so today NECA put out their 18th Bebop and Rocksteady. I don't know. I'm targeting NECA. Put out their 18th Bebop and Rocksteady figure. We're gonna review it. No, I'm gonna go through of what I collect right now, action figure wise. For me, you're gonna hear a lot about Jay the Street Fighter. You're going to hear a little bit about G.I. Joe. You're going to hear a lot about the fucking Muppets. I love the fucking Muppets. Don't even get me goddamn started on the Muppets or we'll go forever. G.I. Joe. Ninja Turtles. My biggest part of my collection is Ninja Turtles. One thing I'm thinking about getting, which I do want to talk about in a second, is Black Series is kind of getting better, right? Like, at least the Revenge of the Sith Black Series. I had a set of Black Series. I had the Galaxy's Edge, the Chewie, the Rey, and the Hondo. The Chewie was okay. The Hondo was phenomenal. The Rey was... Don't get me wrong. I love Rey. I love the sequels. It doesn't take a lot for me to enjoy a movie, to be clear. I like Michael Bay Transformers. But I did not like the figures because Rey, like, her plastic was messed up. Her hair was, like, had, like, lumps in it. It was awful. So I got rid of them. And that's fine. I've never really collected 6-inch Star Wars. I have my childhood collection of figures, like the 3.75, but I never was like, oh, 6-inch Star Wars, let's go. Until I went to Walmart. Now, I try not to shop at Walmart and Target because, you know, I morally don't agree with those companies. But, you know, I live in a small town. I have window shopping. I have limited options. I'll still walk in the store. And they had, I think it was Cat and Mundi? No, it was Plo Koon. They had Plo Koon and Kit Fisto on the pegs for the Revenge of the Sith. And I was like, those are some good looking figures. I don't know. Maybe down the line, there's going to be a Star Wars Black Series review, and I might have to start collecting specifically just the Revenge of the Sith. That's the other thing. I am very picky with what I collect, to the point where, like, I won't even collect full lines. Like, if I got the Black Series, it would just be prequels, because they have the cooler looking aliens. With G.I. Joe, my rule is now, I kind of went overboard, so I sold a bunch of them. My rule is now it has to be somebody either from the original Marvel run of comics, the issues that I own. So I think I stop at, like, issue 115, so that's still a lot. Or a toy I played with as a kid. Because my introduction to G.I. Joe was my friend's dad. One day I was over at his house, we were playing, me and the kid, and his dad goes, here, let me show you all some real toys, get that Lego out of here. And he brought out his G.I. Joes, and we played with the bitches. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And my uncle, childless single man, said, oh, you like G.I. Joe? Here's all the issues I had as a kid minus the ones I liked the most. And that was my introduction to G.I. Joe, was the classic Marvel run. Classic? Is it? I'd say it's classic. I didn't really watch the show either, like Real American Hero. I just Marvel comic run, and those toys is my G.I. Joe introduction. With the camera, this is really hard, because like when I'm a PNG tuber, I can be rubbing my face and stemming and doing all that shit. With a goddamn camera, I gotta like check my posture, make sure it's adjusted so I look okay. But anyway, my introduction to Turtles was through that same kid. He watched 2012. That's probably my favorite line that I own, is my Street Fighter, my 2012 Turtles, because that show was kind of my introduction to like cable cartoons. I grew up with PBS, so I watched Arthur. I almost said Imagine Dragons, but it was like Dragon Tales, that sort of thing. My introduction to toys, I owned Legos and Star Wars, and usually it was those things combined. I had Lego as a kid. I had Lego City, Lego Star Wars, and then I got into Ninjago later, and then I got into Marvel near the end of my Lego run. I don't collect Lego anymore. I don't have space. Also, you're looking behind me going, Jay, I see a VHS player, a bunch of puppets, and some art. I don't see toys. My toys are not in my bedroom. My bedroom is small. My toys are in my living room and my kitchen. So you're not going to get background toys. But if I do a toy review, I have another camera I can set up, and I'll aim the camera at that bad boy. Now, that's another thing. On this account, I'll get back to what I collect in a second. First things first, if you're listening to me, get ready to ping and pong, right? I have diagnosed ADHD. I'm going to jump from one thing to the other and then back to the other thing. We're in a waffle. The boxes are all getting taken down, okay? I plan now. For those of you who are subscribed to the channel this is on, because I've just decided I'm going to put it on what was Jaythearchfey. As you notice, the name is different. I haven't decided on a name, so I'm not going to say it here just in case I change it. This is going to be a hub for the different types of content I want to make. You're still going to get gameplay, like highlights. That's still going to happen. You're also going to get this. I'm going to try once a week to sit down and talk to the camera for at least 45 minutes. So I've got 30 more to go. I can do that. And then we're going to also maybe do some movie reviews. Maybe do another podcast with some friends. Speaking of Rolling Bones, look at that mug. There's only 2 of these in existence. So yeah, I'm going to try to do variety of stuff on here. I hope that the people who subscribe just for gameplay will stay. I hope I'm interesting enough recorded and edited more than I am streamed, because I can like add stuff in. I plan to do game reviews, movie reviews. Like I said, maybe a podcast with some of my friends if they get free. These weekly, and toy reviews. I'll probably involve some puppets in that somewhere, because I'm a puppet obsessed fiend. That sounded like it was a sexual thing. It's not. Also, this is not going to be something you want to listen to with your kids around. I'm 23. I don't have kids, and I say quite often. I'll censor it for this one since it's the first one. But I can't promise down the line I'll keep censoring myself. I was a theater kid. I also was really into like fighting and wrestling type shit. So I got really into WWE. Then I got into AEW. Then I got back into WWE. And now, morally, as companies, they're both kind of I try to morally consume as much as I can. This is not me saying you shouldn't watch these things. You do whatever you want. It's your life. I'm not going to judge you. I try not to watch WWE now that they have somebody who's involved in a certain type of court case wrestling for them again. And AEW recently has spoken out against working with unions, which is not great. TNA has a racist lady working for them, so pretty much wrestling consumption is kind of hard to do without feeling but I do have a couple wrestling figures. I'll probably still collect the occasional like wrestler that I like. Like I need to get a good CM Punk figure. I want to get Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio. I got a couple, so there'll be some wrestling stuff here and there. I also have a bunch of old wrestling tapes that I haven't watched. I have WrestleMania 1 through 15. I've never seen. I also found like a VHS of like old territory stuff that I'll probably react to on this as well. So there's gonna be some wrestling content. It's not gonna be like reaction stuff to wrestling. My main focus is gonna be movies, video games, and toys. Maybe some TV shows like Peacemaker. I'm loving Peacemaker right now, but we'll get back to that. Or no, we won't. We'll do that once season 2's done. So yeah, that's kind of the vibe. I know some people collect everything. I'm not that person. I'm very, very, very specific. I already told you my G.I. Joe rules. My Muppet rules are next to none because nobody's fucking making Muppets right now. Diamond Select's gone. NEC is making the Sesame Street figures. I do want to get into those. I just haven't had time or space. I got to figure that out. Wrestlers. It has to be ethical consumption of the wrestler, I guess, which is, again, hard to do. You're not going to see me getting a Hulk Hogan or a Roman Reigns figure. I already have a Roman Reigns figure before he started talking mad fucking shit about who he supports. Couldn't tell. I'm young, queer. I'm not very big fan of who the president is. And I will talk about that if it becomes a huge problem, which it is a huge problem, but like more of a problem. I will talk about issues on here as well. It won't be the main focus, but just know what you're getting yourself into right off the bat. Like tariffs. Fuck, that's another reason I don't get toys anymore. I walk into a store, I'm like, oh, wow, this figure used to be $25. Oh, that tripled in price. Great, cool, thanks. I can't fucking afford that shit, right? Like I said, not much disposable income. What got me into collecting was 2020, I think. Maybe 2021. I think it was 2021. When the Spider-Verse wave was going around. I was looking through the toys. I was looking at some Legos, because I still collect Lego at that point. And then I saw Miles Morales. I said, this movie was so fucking good. I want a figure. Because I was on vacation. I wanted something to fidget with in the car. So I got into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales. And then I got a couple more Spider-Verse figures. And then I got a couple more Marvel Legends. And then I was like, I was in. And I was like, oh, wrestling? Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. I was collecting wrestling, Marvel Legends, a couple of Muppets, He-Man. I still have some of my He-Man stuff. I'll go into that more specifically in a second. And then as I kept going and like getting more lines, I got into some debt. I wasn't, you're young, you're not smart with your money. And so I've gone back and I've downsized. I don't have any Marvel Legends anymore because when I started with that Miles Morales. He had all those accessories. Marvel Legends now, you're lucky to get some hands. And I don't think that's worth $25. So I've backed out of Marvel Legends. I try to stick to lines that are more like there's a start and there's an end, but not vintage because that's expensive. Like Street Fighter 2, Jada, start, end, and then they go into Alpha. I don't know if I'm going to start with the Alpha line. I haven't decided yet. I got to finish Street Fighter 2 first. 2012 Ninja Turtles, I have a specific list of the characters that I liked from the show that I want to get. I'm not getting the alternate Turtles unless it's the D&D ones. So that's also very boom, boom, here to here. Wrestling, specific wrestlers, boom, boom, here to here. But Marvel Legends, I have trouble limiting myself because I'm like, oh, I want Spider-Man. Well, there's crossovers. And again, it's like it's like $25 and you get maybe 2 hands. It's not worth it. That's why I'm kind of unsure if I want to get into Black Series, because while the figure sculpts are still really cool for the aliens, you're also lucky to get a lightsaber, right? Lightsaber may be included. We'll see. I have a couple 3.75 of the new Star Wars stuff. I got the Ahsoka clones and I kind of liked those because I got them on clearance. That's another thing. I clearance shop a lot. I'll play clearance chicken. I almost got the Mutant Mayhem sewer set, but I was clearance chickening and I lost because it got down to 30 and I was like, I bet it can go to 25. And then it just went off the shelf. and I didn't have it anymore. But that's okay, because that's life, and I also don't have space to replace it. I don't remember what point I was making. Again, this is going to be a lot of jumping around, especially this. This isn't formatted. I'm going to have more formatted stuff later on, but right now, this is what you get. That's action figures. Movies, I actually, a couple years ago, I asked the Toy Power Discord, which if you're not a patron to Toy Power, you should be. I asked them, hey, gang, list of movies that are on VHS you liked as a kid. They gave me a list. I go through, I'm checking that off. I think I have 119 tapes, because a couple of them got mold and I pitched them. Right now, I plan to get more. I also plan to watch all of them. A lot of them I haven't actually seen, like Terminator 1 and 2 I have never seen it. Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, never seen it. Right? I grew up homeschooled, religious family. They weren't really into letting me watch anything that wasn't at least PG. So yeah, why is it named Cowabummer? The name wasn't taken. The sound bites I could use are funny. I collect mostly Ninja Turtles. I have the 2012 line. I have the like my biggest collection right now is Ninja Turtles. I have the 2012 line. I'm collecting the Mutant Mayhem line. I have a couple of the Universal monsters. I have the not the re-releases, but the anniversary Turtles, like the really ugly ones, and I have some of the WWE Turtle figures. I plan to get the entirety of the NECA 2012 line, because that show is top 3 best animated shows of all time. If you have not watched 2012 Ninja Turtles, you know who you are. Get over the fact it's CGI and watch it. It's really good. And if you disagree, I'm sorry, you don't have taste. That's my hot take. Anyway, so it's called Cowabummer mainly because of that. Also because, like I said, prices are high right now. I can't buy a lot of figures right now. It's a lot of window shopping. My opinions on stuff, I'm window shopping. I'm going to try not to be super negative, because fuck knows the world has enough negativity as it is. But occasionally there might be a negative rant, and I apologize if that's not your shtick. Guests, if I can find people who want to hop on here and chat with me, cool. More than welcome to. Come on in. If not, it's just going to be this. Hopefully my background will look a little nicer. Maybe this pile of puppets and blankets will be put somewhere else so you can't see. But yeah, I'll also talk about TTRPGs I've played. Like I said, I started with D&D, but I've played the Doctor Who RPG. I've played the Monster of the Week, Dungeons and Dragons. I already said. There's a Ninja Turtles one that's really hard to figure out. I'm going to try to. There's the Marvel RPG. I have the Hellboy RPG. I haven't opened it yet. So, yeah. And that's what it's going to be. If you have stuff you want to hear me talk about, my opinion on, cool. Fuck it. That's why there's a comment section. I'll interact. I'll talk. I can't imagine I'm going to be so busy and famous that I can't read my fucking comment section. One thing I want to get back into that I was into a lot more as a kid that I'm not anymore is Pokemon cards. Now that's hard because scalpers. I'm sorry. They fucking ruin everything. If you're a scalper or a reseller, you suck. I don't like you. And if you don't like that opinion, Cowabummer. See, that's why it's called Cowabummer. It works. But I do want to get back into Pokemon cards. I still have mine as a kid. I'm reorganizing right now. Mine from when I was a kid. It's fun. I like the art. I like the cardboard. So that'll probably be something I get more into, especially if this does well. I'm not going to be here going, see, we have a PSA 9 Charizard here. One crinkle in it. That's why it's a 9. I'm going to try to see how much money. No, it's going to be, hey guys, look at these Pokemon cards I got. Hey guys, I watched some of the Pokemon anime. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, I played Pokemon Coliseum. Let's talk about it. So you're probably going to get some Pokemon from me. I have other smaller interests that I'm sure will pop in and out that I hope you all enjoy. And yeah, but it's mostly, I also don't think I'm going to be one of those toy podcasts that sits there and goes through the news of everything that got announced, because there's a lot of toys out there and I'm not going to buy most of them. I'm going to stay in my lane. I think that's everything. Also, what I mentioned earlier, I collect He-Man. My He-Man collection is Masters of the Universe, Revelations, or Revolutions. I'm slowly trying to complete those 2 lines, because again, start, finish. I know where I'm going. I tried to watch the original Filmation. It's not good. I'm sorry. I understand people have nostalgia for it. For me, original Filmation is a hard watch. Same thing with the original Ninja Turtles. I'll watch 03. I'll watch the movies. I'll even tolerate Michael Bay. 2012 is the best. Rise is good. I don't care if you don't think it is. You're wrong. That's not true. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm just, I can yelling you're wrong at a camera is good for a TikTok clip. So, that's called clip farming for those of you who don't know. Anyway, but the original run of Ninja Turtles, the animated show from 98, I think. That's nothing. I'm not a toy historian. I'm gonna get dates wrong. But the original run of the Ninja Turtles, it's not for me. I've watched like 4 episodes. I said this is rough. He-Man, this is rough. The original G.I. Joe series, this is more tolerable, but still kind of rough. Then again, I'm not the target audience. I'm not a kid in the 80s. But I have watched since then. I watched I watched all the other Ninja Turtle stuff, like I said. I watched Masters of the Universe, Revolution, Revelation. I'm gonna try 2000. I like the animation style for it, so hopefully I'll enjoy that for Masters of the Universe. And then G.I. Joe, I watched Renegades. I really liked Renegades. It only had 2 seasons. I think it should have had more. Renegades was really good G.I. Joe. The movie with The Rock was not really good G.I. Joe, but I do still own that on DVD. Yeah, and then physical media, like I said, I collect video games. I have a GameCube, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, Xbox One, Switch, Wii U, PlayStation 3. So my video game library, I'll have a lot of that to talk about as well. And also I play on PC. Right now, I'm trying to collect a bunch of fighting games. Like next to me, I have here. Let's do a. Sorry, I realized the bag crunkly would mess the mic up. Let's do a weekly pickup, shall we? That's a thing podcasts do. What do I have in here? I have. Let me not crinkle the mic. I don't own an N64. I got 007 for my dad for his birthday. I don't think you could see the price. Let me do it that way. I forgot to give it to him, so it's his Christmas present now. And then I recently picked up Sly Cooper, which is a game price tag. Which is a game I played a lot as a kid. I played Sly 2. I could never beat it. Now I want to play them all in order. So Sly Cooper, I'll talk about that once I play it. And then, like I said, I'm really into fighting games right now. So I recently got Virtua Fighter Evolutions. Now I have Virtua Fighter, I want to say 5, I think. I think it's 5. It's on the PS3. It's the only Virtua Fighter I've played. I did not like Virtua Fighter. I am a Street Fighter kid through and through. I had the Street Fighter Anniversary Edition for the PS2, which had 1 and 2 in it. Or no, 2 and 3 in it. Third Strike. I played the fuck out of Third Strike. That is my Street Fighter. Virtua Fighter, I don't think it's for me. I'm still going to give this one a try. Fighting games I have played that I enjoyed. I liked Mortal Kombat. I loved Street Fighter. King of Fighters was pretty good. I need to explore more of those. I only have 12, which I'm told is one of the worst ones. And I like Tekken. The 3D ones are a little harder. Soul Calibur's good too. I'm trying to collect all the Soul Caliburs as well. So there's going to be a lot of fighting game talk on here. But again, it's going to be basic level stuff. I'm not going to be sitting here going, so if you take Chun-Li and you rotate the stick 3.75 and 2.8 seconds, you can actually get her ultimate off in 0.38 frames faster than... You're not going to get that, right? I'll talk about, like, when Street Fighter 6 announced this DLC, I'll talk about, like, what they look like, the designs, the characters, how they felt when I played them. But it's not... You're not going to get professional grade commentary from me. It's going to be a basic fan opinion. Let me put it this way. I play Street Fighter. When I play Street Fighter 3 and 5, I play Akuma, and I play him because I know how to do the Raging Demon. That's pretty much the only move I know how to do. You're not getting a combo off from me. If you want to watch me play video games, check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/Jaythearchfey. I think that's everything I have. This has been a long ramble. It's probably shorter than what I'm going to do. Recap. Watch this if you want to hear me talk about video games, movies, toys. I might start collecting Star Wars again. We'll see. Ninja Turtles 2012 is the best series. Cartoon. Top 5 cartoon. Top 3 cartoons. Top 3 cartoons right now. Young Justice. In no particular order. Young Justice, Clone Wars, 2012 Ninja Turtles. Fight me. Yeah. This has been me solo podcasting. I can't think of anything else to say. I'll have notes next time. If you listened this long and watched just this, is it a podcast? I don't know if it's even going to go on podcast feeds. This might just be on my YouTube. We'll see. But if you've watched this long, I appreciate it. Try subscribing. See what happens. You never know. RPGs. That's the other thing to talk about. I don't know why I said that. You already know that. Next week, I'm going to talk about, unless something extraordinary happens, I'm going to talk about pipeline reveals and my opinions on them, because they've been teasing 2012 Ninja Turtles since last year. NECA has. And we've seen them physically, and we've seen even more pipelines at the last Comic-Con. But you know what we haven't seen in stores? The goddamn 2012 Ninja Turtles. And if you haven't been able to tell by the words exiting my mouth, I fucking love 2012 Ninja Turtles. It's so good. Watch it. But yeah, I'm running out of daylight because my light bulb in my room's broken. So this light you're seeing is from a window. So we're gonna stop it there. So thank you all for hanging out. If you listen this long, I appreciate you. If you want to subscribe, go for it. If you don't, cool. It's not for you. That's okay. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope your week is not a Cowabummer. And I hope you get to buy some fucking toys. But for that, I'm Jaythearchfey. This has been Cowabummer. Goodbye, I guess.